Okay, so everybody's talking about Daniil Medvedev's crash out at the US Open, and you shouldn't laugh about it when someone's like under a high amount of stress. But you have to know, like, I watch tennis all the time, and Medvedev crashes out at every US Open. Go back throughout the years and you'll see he'll have a screaming match, he'll get the crowd all riled up, he'll fight with the ref, he'll get fined for damaging his racket or whatever. And what happened, he actually does have a valid reason to be screaming and yelling. He was losing so badly to this French tennis player. The French tennis player had like won the first two sets, I think. And Medvedev was losing super bad. And it was literally like almost the end of part of the set. And all of a sudden, a photographer came out onto the court. So usually there's like a barrier for cameras and staff and everything. And then in front of that barrier is where like the ball kids stand to pick up stray balls and stuff. And then there's some space and then the actual court. And the photographer walked out onto the spot in front of the barriers for the TV cameras and stuff like that. And just walked down. And everybody was like, what the heck's going on? The game is happening. You can't be on the court when the game is happening. And so that caused Medvedev to go like nuts, right? Because it's like he hasn't lost the game yet. They're still playing. There's still a chance for him to win. You know, you don't go on to the court like, oh, it's all over. I might as well just come onto the court, whatever. And so they zoomed in on the photographer. And for like 6 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, the crowd was like screaming and yelling, and Medvedev was like screaming and yelling at them and throwing his racket down and yelling at the ref and saying like, this is not fair. Look at this distraction of this man coming out here to take pictures, like, you know, not where he's supposed to be, whatever. And the crowd would not calm down, even with like the judge, even with the judge telling them, you know, please be quiet, you know, excuse me, please be quiet. They need silence and everything. And they would still continue to scream until finally the other guy, the other player, decided to just keep playing through their screaming and yelling. It was just like, I've never seen people behave that way at a tennis match, like an actual, like, match where you're paying thousands of dollars for the tickets. And you're screaming and yelling, you know, as the players are playing, you know, and this is only the first round. This is not even the finals of the US Open. It's like one of the first days of the US Open. So, really shocking behavior of the crowd and of the photographer that walked in when the game was still happening and just let me just walk on the court. So, yes, Medvedev had a reason to be all upset. And it was just unbelievable that he continued to rile up the crowd like he always does. And then he almost won. The guy went from losing the whole match to almost winning. And eventually he was defeated. But like it was like this close. He stretched the game on. It was almost over at like 2 hours. He stretched it on to like 3.5 hours. What do you think about this? Did you watch that game? Unbelievable.